Hey, what is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Tech. First of all, thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. So, today I've got a dedicated camera comparison video between the OnePlus 11R versus the Xiaomi 12 Pro. अगर आपको इन दोनों के बीच का एक ओवरऑल कंपैरिजन चाहिए देन गो टू माय चैनल. मैंने एक और वीडियो अपलोड किया है विच टॉक्स अबाउट द परफॉर्मेंस, बैटरी एंड अदर एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ दीज टू स्मार्टफोन. This video will be a dedicated video on the camera system from these two smartphone. ये वीडियो बनाने के लिए बहुत सारा मेहनत और टाइम गया है, सो प्लीज सब्सक्राइब टू द चैनल एंड लाइक द वीडियो. इफ पॉसिबल शेयर ऑल्सो. इट कैन बूस्ट मी टू मेक मोर वीडियोज लाइक दिस. कीपिंग एवरीथिंग असाइड, लेट्स रोल इन. Start with the specs. Both of these smartphones have a triple camera setup, but दोनों का setup जो है वो काफ़ी different है. One gives you a flexibility to shoot macro photos and the other one gives you a crazy 20x zoom capabilities. The OnePlus 11R gets three sensors. The primary one is a 50 megapixel sensor which gets a 24mm f1.8 wide angle lens. The secondary one is a 8 megapixel ultra wide lens which has a field of view of 120 degrees Celsius and it has got an aperture of f2.2. And the third lens is a macro lens. It's actually a 2 megapixel lens which has an aperture of f2.4. And it's got a focusing distance of 4 centimeters, so you can get real close to the objects. On the other hand, Xiaomi offers you all the three camera system with a 50 megapixel sensors. The primary one is a 50 megapixel sensor which gets a lens of 24mm aperture f1.9. It also has optical image stabilization. So the lens actually moves to counter your hand action. So that's actually quite good. And it also got dual focus phase detect autofocusing system. So autofocusing also works quite well on this. It has got a 2x telephoto lens which is equivalent to 48mm f1.9 aperture, and that telephoto lens also give you that 20x crazy zoom. The third one is an ultra wide angle lens which has an aperture of f2.2, field of view of 115 degree. Xiaomi promises you that there is no color shift between all the three lenses, meaning to say that whenever you're switching from primary to wide or wide to ultra wide, there should be no color change. That's what they say, but the story is something different. I will show you that in my later tests. तो मैंने सारे images और videos मेरे system पे load कर दिया है. I will show you guys how the images actually look like without any edit. So let's go. Let's look at these two images. On the left you got the Xiaomi 12 Pro and on the right you got the OnePlus 11R. The OnePlus 11R claims that it's got the 120 degree field of view, while the Xiaomi claims that it's got the 115 degree ultra wide angle view. But clearly from the images it's quite evident that the Xiaomi covers a bit more area as compared to the OnePlus 11R. If you see on the left side, let me just zoom in a bit. So check this out where the images ends. So the Xiaomi is able to cover the entire tree as you can see here, but on the right side the OnePlus does not cover it. So let's zoom out and check the road here. Let's go to this cement bag. If we go here, clearly as you can see that the Xiaomi is covering more field whereas the OnePlus is not. Let's go on the right side, but it's quite similar here. But on the left side, as I said, it's quite evident that the Xiaomi is a bit more wider as compared to the OnePlus 11R. Let's take a look at a couple of more images. So this is taken from the ultra wide angle lens. Now let's compare the images which were taken from the primary lens, which is a 24mm equivalent. So यहाँ पे दोनों system में आपको 24mm ही मिलता है, and it is quite evident that कि दोनों का field of view is somewhat similar. Let's zoom into the corner. As you can see, ये भी same है. टॉप राइट ये भी सेम है. तो प्राइमरी लेंस में एक्चुअली देयर इज नो मच डिफरेंस, बट अल्ट्रा वाइड में द Xiaomi 12 Pro कवर्स मोर एरिया. सो लेट्स कंपेयर अनदर एग्जांपल फॉर द अल्ट्रा वाइड. सो ये दोनों जो है, ऑन द लेफ्ट साइड आई हैव गॉट द Xiaomi 12 Pro and on the right side आई हैव गॉट द OnePlus 11R. सो यहाँ पे भी आप देख सकते हो फील्ड ऑफ व्यू कितना वाइड है इन Xiaomi स्मार्टफोन. सो द बिल्डिंग इज़ क्वाइट अपरेंट हियर, एंड यहाँ पे तो बिल्डिंग दिख भी नहीं रहा है. So yeah, Field of view, when it comes to ultra wide, it's Xiaomi offers you a bit more as compared to OnePlus 11R. The OnePlus 11R has a dedicated macro camera. So here is an image which I have taken from that. Again, it's a 2 megapixel sensor. It's not really that great, but you can get this close to take that image. As you can see here, you can really get very up close to take those images. So by default images थोड़ा they fill up the sensor a bit more, तो आपको image ज़्यादा लगता है, but it's not actually that large. However, I had taken these photos with a telephoto lens on the Xiaomi, and if you can see right one, this is actually from the 2x option mode we get in the OnePlus. So check these two if I can compare. So almost macro like image है दोनों में, almost macro like image है दोनों में. If I punch in, you can see the details दोनों में भी similar है when I use 2x. मेरा थोड़ा framing off हो गया है इसमें, but yeah, दोनों में भी as you can see the details are very similar. On the left, as I said, I've got the Xiaomi, and on the right I've got the OnePlus R. I want to show you a couple of more images where to showcase that how the dynamic range is handled. So take example of these two images, and I'm going to punch in a bit. As you can see here, the OnePlus is a bit more washed out, but इसमें अच्छा shadows में information ज़्यादा retain हुआ है. But if you see the same on the Xiaomi smartphone, it's totally blacked out. उतना ज़्यादा details नहीं मिल रहा है आपको. It's a bit sharper for sure. Xiaomi is a bit sharper, but there is no detail in the shadows. Highlight भी if you see here, आपको Xiaomi थोड़ा washed out मिलेगा, whereas the OnePlus is a bit more crisper. Let's take example of these two images. Obviously they are portraits of my friends. तो अगर मैं यहाँ पे zoom in करता हूँ, यहाँ पे आप shadow में देखो. Let's compare these two images. They are actually portraits of my friends. अगर आप especially इस shadow area में देख रहे हो, let me punch in a bit. So यहाँ पे देखिए OnePlus is retaining a lot of information, whereas the Xiaomi is completely blacked out. There is no information remaining. And also if you go to the skin tones, it's a bit sharper, but more natural are coming from the OnePlus. तो स्किन टोन के लिए मुझे पर्सनली OnePlus का color production अच्छा लगा, which we'll talk about in couple of next examples. So let's move on to a couple of more images. So I want to show you these. This is where I have a lot of problem with the Xiaomi smartphone. So let's compare these two. So यहाँ पे देखिए on the left side I've got my Xiaomi. यहाँ पे देखिए कितना color exaggerate, over saturate हो गया है. It almost looks unnatural. On the right side you got your OnePlus. यहाँ पे देखिए कलर थोड़ा नेचुरल लगता है, बट इफ़ यू गो टू Xiaomi आप देखिए ये कितना ब्लोन आउट है, कितना ओवर सैचुरेटेड इमेज है. इफ आई गो टू दीज एरियाज, इट इज़ क्वाइट एविडेंट कि Xiaomi is not retaining a lot of details in the shadows, whereas OnePlus is. So the color is again a big problem for me particularly. You might like oversaturated colors. I don't like it, but it is what it is. Xiaomi is producing oversaturated colors, whereas OnePlus is producing more natural colors. I'm going to show you a couple of more images like this. Yeah, take these two for example. On the left I've got my Xiaomi, and on the right I've got my OnePlus again. So if I punch in, देखिए यहाँ पे हाईलाइट कितना ब्लोन आउट है, स्काई में कोई डिटेल्स नहीं है. दिस इज़ वेयर आई डोंट लाइक Xiaomi. बहुत ओवर सैचुरेटेड कर देता है. इट कैन नॉट हैंडल दी highlights and shadows as good as the OnePlus. Clearly you can see the difference here. I'm going to show you a couple of examples of the selfies which I've taken. Okay, so this is where I had lost my microphone का battery, so I'm gonna doing a voice over, so आपको audio में थोड़ा difference लग सकता है. So let's get started. What I want to show here. So as you can see on the left I got Xiaomi, on the right got my OnePlus. So if I zoom in, as you can see there is absolutely no highlight. मतलब कितना blown out है. But if you check the OnePlus, it is maintaining a lot of contrast. As you can see my beard is cleaner, my skin tone is better, and even on the green on the left looks better. However, if you look at the Xiaomi, it's completely blown out. Even my skin tones look wacky, so I'm not really a huge fan of that. Now these are a couple of photos which I have taken with the HDR enabled. As you can see on the left I got Xiaomi, on the right I got OnePlus, and the right one looks so good. If you check the building on the right, it's a white building and it looks a lot more evident on the OnePlus. But if you check the same on the Xiaomi, it's completely whacked out. कुछ भी नहीं दिख रहा है basically. And looking at the skin tones, you can see the OnePlus maintains a lot of sharpness, and Xiaomi is completely blown out. Sharpness ही नहीं है image में. Look at the sky, कितना detail maintained है OnePlus में, but you don't get to see that on the Xiaomi. It's completely washed out.
Now look at the edge detection on these smartphones, and as you can see on the left I got Xiaomi, on the right I got OnePlus. Left one थोड़ा वॉश आउट लग रहा है आपको, मेरा मिस्टेक है, मैं कुछ सेटिंग में कुछ कर रहा था एंड आई डिडंट रीसेट इट, सो इसलिए आपको उतना वॉश आउट लग रहा है. इट वाज कंप्लीटली माय मिस्टेक. एक्चुअली Xiaomi takes sharper images than this one. Now talking about the बोका, देखिए Xiaomi कितना क्रीमी है, बट OnePlus में आपको ट्री दिख रहा है. यू कैन सी द स्ट्रक्चर एक्चुअली, but Xiaomi is doing a fantastic job. This is actually taken in the portrait mode on the both of the smartphones. So yeah, अब लेफ्ट में देखिए बोका कितना स्मूथ है Xiaomi में, और वन प्लस में आपको दिख रहा है. द मेन थिंग इज दैट कि आपको वन प्लस में यू डोंट गेट अ 2x टेलीफोटो लेंस, बट Xiaomi में आपको टेलीफोटो लेंस मिलता है. एंड दी स्मार्टफोन एक्चुअली टेक्स फुल एडवांटेज ऑफ द टेलीफोटो लेंस, एंड आपको वो एक्चुअली काफ़ी क्रीमी बोका प्रोड्यूस करके देता है. नाउ लुक एट द डिटेलिंग एट डिटेक्शन ऑन माई बियर्ड एंड माई हेड. मेरा बैकग्राउंड ज़्यादा बिजी नहीं था, इसीलिए इट इज़ डूइंग अ ग्रेट जॉब. बोथ ऑफ द स्मार्टफोन्स आर डूइंग अ ग्रेट जॉब, बट इफ द बैकग्राउंड इज समवॉट बिजी, दोनों थोड़ा स्ट्रगल करते हैं. लेट्स से हैव अ लॉट ऑफ स्ट्रक्चर्स, हैव अ लॉट ऑफ बिल्डिंग्स, and let's say you have other peoples also very close to you, so they do.
ऑलराइट, सो ये है हमारे दोनों स्मार्टफोन, जिसका मैं एक कैमरा यूआई रन थ्रू करूँगा आपको, एंड आई विल शो यू द स्पीड ऑल्सो. इस टेस्ट के लिए डिफॉल्ट कैमरा यूज़ करूँगा. आई एम नॉट यूजिंग एनी थर्ड पार्टी कैमरा एप्लीकेशंस. सो लेट्स सी विच स्मार्टफोन ओपन्स फास्टर. दोनों का स्पीड ऑलमोस्ट सेम है, बट आई थिंक वन प्लस थोड़ा सा जल्दी सीन को रिकग्नाइज कर रहा है. नाउ लेट्स चेक द स्पीड, कितना फास्ट लेगा फोटो. विच स्मार्टफोन इज फास्टर बेसिकली. सो दिस इज 16 gigs, दिस इज 12 gigs ऑफ रैम. लेट्स सी विच इज़ बेटर. एंड ऑल्सो आई एम नॉट यूजिंग एनी सॉर्ट ऑफ रैम एक्सपेंशन ऑन द Xiaomi. एंड देखो मेरा सेटिंग्स काफ़ी डिफॉल्ट है. HDR हमने बंद करके रखा है, AI बंद करके रखा है, एंड दैट्स दैट. एंड वी आर यूजिंग आवर प्राइमरी 1x लेंस. सो लेट्स स्टार्ट टेकिंग फोटोज़. I think Xiaomi is slightly faster when it comes to taking photos, and OnePlus is tad bit slower. So as you can see here, Xiaomi पे जाऊँगा, so it takes a lot faster. Even though this is 12 gigs of RAM, RAM expansion, and this is 16 gigs, this is tad bit slower when it comes to taking photos. Let me give you a UI run through. Let's start with the OnePlus. As you can see, ऐसा whenever you open the camera app, this is how it is going to look like, and both our models, Batman and Superman, those are also ready. So ऐसा आपका UI मिलेगा whenever you open the camera app. And नीचे regular stuff, night mode है, video mode है, portrait है, photo है. And if you go to more, then you get your other creative shot options like pro mode, pano mode, macro, film, slow mo, time lapse, long exposure, dual video, and tilt shift. अगर मैं dual video on करूँगा, it records from the front camera as well as from the rear camera. सो स्पेशली व्लॉगिंग टाइप ऑफ सिनेरियोज में यूज़ आएगा शायद. लेट्स गो टू फोटो फर्स्ट. सो फोटो में आपको, इफ़ यू गो टू सेटिंग्स, आपको ये ऑप्शन मिलेगा. तो बेसिकली अगर आप हाई रेज ऑन करोगे तो आपको 50 मेगापिक्सल फुट इमेजेस लेने का ऑप्शन मिलेगा, क्योंकि इसका प्राइमरी सेंसर जो है इट्स अ 50 मेगापिक्सल सेंसर. एंड द प्रॉब्लम इज़ अल्ट्रा वाइड और 2x में आपको 50 मेगापिक्सल ऑप्शन नहीं मिलेगा, क्योंकि इसमें एक ही कैमरा सेंसर जो है वो 50 मेगापिक्सल है. Now if I go here, I have an option to either turn off the HDR and set it to auto, which actually I like. So it doesn't give you an option to keep the HDR on all the time. The phone automatically recognizes when the HDR is needed and it turns on. अगर आप off रखोगे तो it's going to be off all the time. क्योंकि अगर आप sometimes, let's say if I'm taking casual photos and if my HDR is on, it makes the video images sky very janky, which I'm not really a huge fan of. So yeah, if it thinks HDR is needed, it turns it on. If not, then no. If I go to settings, then you get your regular setting options like grid करना है, watermark रखना है, shutter sound, flip side. As you can see here some other time, it also supports 10-bit color. Let me show you some of the options about video. Let's go here. So I'll show you some of the frame rates available. So obviously you can shoot at 720p, 1080p, 4K, or 4K it is capped at 60 fps. 1080p is also at 60 fps, मतलब when you are in video mode, and 720p also आप शूट कर सकते हो 60 fps तक. अगर आपको स्लो मो शूट करना है, then you'll have to go to the more option and then go to slow mo. यहाँ पे आपको फ्रेम रेट और वीडियो रेजोल्यूशन सेलेक्ट करने का ऑप्शन मिलता है फॉर स्लो मो स्पेसिफिकली. यू कैन टेक 1080p अप टू 480 fps, which is good. No, it's actually 1080p and 240 fps. अगर मैं 480 fps select करता हूँ तो ऑटोमेटिकली मेरा रेजोल्यूशन 720p हो जाएगा. This is Xiaomi. I'm opening the default camera applications and we'll start with the photo options. यहाँ पे आपको बहुत सारे options मिल जाएंगे actually, in a way much more than what you get in the OnePlus. So we'll start with just a quick UI run through. You have different options at the bottom here. So you have different options here. Pro mode है, documents है, videos है, photos है, portrait, night mode, and your 50 megapixel and you can take 50 megapixel photos. And let's go to photo first. So if I go on the top here, on the top right, you have your default settings, like what will be your aspect ratio in which you want to shoot, and you got your timer and you got your voice shutter also. If I enable that and if I just say cheese, it will automatically take the photo. That's quite cool. Now movie frame karunga, so then it puts these double bars. It's quite useful for cinematic videos, especially when you're taking videos. And let me turn that off. And if you go to setting, it's something similar what you have in your in your OnePlus. So nothing different here in particular. So let's go to video. I think this is where in video section, actually even in photo section, Xiaomi has a huge advantage over OnePlus. So let me show you the resolution first. You can actually shoot 8K images up to 24 fps. So that's quite good. 8K काफ़ी crisp है. बहुत बड़ा फाइल साइज हो जाता है, एंड even your smartest or other most powerful laptops struggle to edit it. But yeah, you have an option to shoot at 8K also. अगर आप 4K पे जाओगे तो 3060 available, 1080p 3060 available, 720p only 30 fps available. I don't know why, but it is what it is. अगर आपको slow में shoot करना है, then you just drag from the bottom, then you have your special effects here. Let's go to slow mo first. And here it will give an option to shoot 720p up to 1920 fps, which is super slow, and even at 960 fps, 960 and 1920, they're burst mode. They're not continuous. It doesn't shoot continuous at that frame rate. It's just burst mode. अगर आपको continuous super slow mo चाहिए, then you are capped at 480 fps. Have some very cool effects also here, like long exposure, super moon, panorama. It actually takes one of the best panorama photos in any smartphone I have seen. And yeah, let me go to pro mode. Here I think you have a huge advantage in this. Let me go to the settings and show you guys first. So देखो यहाँ पे raw, you can take raw. You have exposure verification, basically वो zebras. So मैंने उसको on करके रखा है. So let's say, as you can see right now here, my image is fully overexposed क्योंकि मेरा shutter speed it's very low. Let me bump that up. Now you can see the zebras are gone. If I lower it, you can actually see the zebras popping up. So that's quite nice. If you want that flexibility or have that pro mode, you basically want full control on your camera, then you have that option here, and it is quite well made also. Pro mode उसमें भी है, OnePlus में भी है, but this is a lot more. यहाँ पे आपको ज़्यादा control मिलता है, like raw photos, there's exposure, zebras and everything. So that's what something I liked. And so that's about the complete camera comparison, guys. Obviously एक दूसरे के advantages है एक दूसरे के ऊपर. Xiaomi is a spec monster. तीनों भी 50 मेगापिक्सल के सेंसर्स है, 2x टेलीफोटो मिलेगा आपको, और अच्छा सा द UI इज़ क्वाइट मोर रिफाइंड, और रॉ इमेज भी ले सकते हो आप इसमें. बट आई थिंक वेयर इट लैक्स इज़ in exposing the images. It cannot handle the highlights quite well, it cannot handle the shadows quite well in the images. That's where OnePlus prevails. It manages the highlights quite well, shadows में काफ़ी अच्छा details था. Dynamic range basically is better on the OnePlus, or also the HDR mode is quite better on the OnePlus as compared to the Xiaomi. But for me, overall, if I have to say, I think Xiaomi takes it for me personally, purely because of the sensor and the kind of output the sensor is producing, and also it gives me the flexibility of taking raw image where I can actually go and edit the image according to me. This does have 10-bit color, but this does not have the raw image capabilities. So yeah, I actually like personally to edit and upload, so I would prefer Xiaomi over OnePlus when it comes to camera. So that's it, guys. That's the complete comparison. If you guys have any questions, please put them in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to answer them. And once again, please do consider subscribing to the channel. We are close to, I believe, 250. The target is 500. So yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.